Folks, I noticed on the sign-up sheet, nobody signed up. Is that true? Does anybody want to speak at the workshop? If not, we're going to call this to order at 5 o'clock. And council, y'all ready? Everybody here? We're going to start off with, Ken, you're going to start off with everything, or Stan? Stan's going to do it okay with planning and zoning. There's several things. That's the biggest items on the workshop, so let's go ahead and do those first. Sam, be sure your light's on. Is that little green light on? I'm not. You done take it, or you got it?
So for the first agenda item, which is revisions to the City of Morgan's Point Resort Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Section 23 and 24, discuss and take appropriate action on any revisions recommended on 30th January 2025 by Planning and Zoning Commission to the City of Morgan's Point Resort Ordinances, Chapter 14, Section 23 and 24. The P&Z Commission discussed and recommended revisions, which include the following. Zoning Commission to be revised to commission only, and this is in lieu of the definition, which is, I believe, in Chapter 10, which has P&Z as commission only. So following that, we are revising Chapter 14 to kind of follow that same definition and change zoning commission to be revised to commission only. The commission shall consist of 7 members instead of the previous 5. 4 shall serve a period of 1 year from the date of initial appointment instead of 3, and 3 shall serve for a period of 2 years from the date of initial appointment instead of the previous 2. Chairman should be replaced with chairperson. Change zoning regulations to zoning ordinances and include ordinances with zoning wherever mentioned in the section chapter 14. Change master plan to comprehensive plan. Again, this is just following the layout in the document or chapter 10 where it does specify master plan. So instead, where it says comprehensive plan instead of master plan. So this is just following the same format in chapter 14 as well. So there was no input from the public at the P&Z Commission meeting on 30th January. The recommendation was by a vote of 4-0. The P&Z recommended approval of this request to revise the City of MPR Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Section 23 and 24. And now it is up for City Council's approval.
We will not be voting on that tonight. This is strictly an informative session right here. So do you have any questions on any of it? Now's the time to ask.
One of the things we talked about, because I did attend that meeting, was do we want, and this is for council, I guess. This is one of the questions that came up at the P&Z meeting, was does council want P&Z to be responsible for all ordinances, updating all ordinances, which is in 2021? Or do we just want them responsible for Appendix B, which is zoning ordinances? And that's a question. Because all ordinances is and it was split kind of in the conversation that you guys didn't make a decision because you have to throw it to council.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was kind of split. Do we want to fight that whole elephant? I mean, things that fall like, Mike's not here, but things that might fall within zoning officials' realm of responsibility. We don't have to make a decision, I guess. We can't, but that is a question.
Who would you have responsible for? Just the building inspector would be the only other one you would have?
I would say manager, sorry. And the building official reports to the city manager. I mean, I could look up real quick what they all
Are you
are.
referring to like the building official responsibilities? The reason that the title needs to be changed, I have no licensing for plumbing, electrical, that position would have naturally. But, so I, to be honest with you, it'd be the blind leading the blind. I wouldn't be able to make a very good assessment there.
I'm just looking real quick what's, oh, I'm not connected. What all are in our ordinances? It would be, animal ordinances. Municipal court, building ordinances. Again, I don't have it in front of me.
Is it-
Do you have the appendix there, Jimbo? Okay. So animal control, building regulations, business regulations, fire prevention and protection, health and sanitation, municipal court offenses, personnel, et cetera.
Are you saying that are you questioning whether they have the authority to change those or bring those changes before council?
That's what this is saying
Oh.
in 23.4.1. Responsibility for updating ordinances. Where such updates impact the comprehensive plan.
Well, that would be right, yeah. I think they should for the comprehensive plan. But for all those others, I don't think that would apply to them. I think fire's not,
Comprehensive plan like includes facilities. It would be like city hall and public safety and.
those are, yeah, I'm not sure.
But that's not an ordinance, right? That's just a plan.
Correct.
So they can make any changes, any suggestions they want to the plan. It's not an ordinance, right?
So this is
Did I
saying
miss
they
it?
can make ordinances changes.
Well, yeah. I think it would be for planning and zoning ordinances, not for anything outside of that.
That's what I was kind of leaning,
Yeah.
but I just want to make sure.
And state
Wording.
law requires, for example, a comprehensive plan before it goes for a public hearing, which is one of the requirements, is it also goes through a PNC commission or something along those lines, or if the department doesn't have that, one of their planning departments, I guess. But, so what I'm saying is, I think it fits in line with pretty much what the statute says anyway under comprehensive plan to get adopted. So it makes sense they would be a party to that process to make recommendations.
Things. They are responsible for the comprehensive plan. Absolutely. And that's in all of their documents. This is, are they responsible for updating all city ordinances?
Would make
So
sense.
then we might need to narrow that down. But I don't, can't vote or we can't decide.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable request.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Sam? Well, thank you, sir.
It's nice to see it. Looks very good.
Moving right along, council, do you have, what you'd like to bring up next? We don't have a specific time frame, right? Stan, you ready? Come on up.
All right, my light's green, so that's good, right? Means to go. Okay, I think we're also looking, if you want me to go here, Dennis, DS 25-005, which is discuss changes made to the specific use permit. That was an item that came through to planning and zoning, and we did make a very small adjustment to that particular application. We added a title to the top of the page under the City of Morgan's Point logo, which just says specific use permit. Just kind of clarified it for us. It was in the document itself, but it wasn't right at the front, so we just made a small change there. So we're looking to have that application adjusted. The next one on here is DS 25006. Which is a minor change to the planning and zoning membership application. There, we considered adding a yes and no option for potential volunteers to identify if they are currently working with a governmental entity, so that there may not be, we're trying to avoid any conflicts. So it's just a small addition there to that particular application for membership.
Question.
would that be a deciding factor? Are you saying that perhaps people who work at
Governmental entity.
governmental agency would be excluded from, or just want to know that up front?
I think we'd want to know it up front. In addition to that, we kind of interview them whenever they come to planning and zoning. This helps us maybe not miss that. If we think there might be a conflict there, give us an opportunity to be able to quiz a little further what entity they work with, what do they do, to see if it might conflict with what requirements they would have for the planning and zoning.
Can you broaden, would it be feasible, smart, dumb, whatever, to broaden that a little bit? Are they a builder, or are they a construction, anybody associated with construction as a business? You know, that kind of thing, because that would be kind of, somebody could have
Could have a conflict.
yeah, well, that would be a nice way to say it.
That's, I mean, we were kind of open to other things being added, if we would like to put it there. I know we were just giving it as a broad application so that whenever we do ask those questions, we were trying to put some other things down that maybe we would miss that were of concern. Being a builder or developer, always a concern, you know, I think we all have. So anything else that City Council would like to put there, would be more than happy to consider adding that as well.
Yeah, anything that could help you, that doesn't, would bring forth somebody that has a potential interest, but also might have a conflict of interest. Sure. Not that one is necessarily lead to the other.
Okay.
Yeah, and I might consider, I mean, I go in transparency, so you guys know, you know, what a potential candidate brings to the table. And, you know, like the previous council, we had to put in place our ability to volunteer. So I'd say if I was sitting on your application committee, I would be not concerned, but I would be interested in what agent, not just working for, but what are you volunteering for as well? Because there are some volunteer nonprofit organizations that, you know, become hostile. I don't know what's the right word, but food for thought.
Right.
Overly involved. There you go. Yes. Just food for thought. And again, that's not a discriminating question. I think it stay that way. But just for transparency and knowledge, I like it.
All right. Okay, next item is DS 2500. That's y'all's. So I'm going to jump, if it's okay, Dennis, if I jump to 008. DS 25008, discuss the comprehensive plan. What we were kind of discussing there was that in the beginning, when the comprehensive plan was to be updated, it was a responsibility of planning and zoning to initiate that and to move that forward with all of the changes and updates that we've currently been looking at in the current plan. And we felt it was our responsibility that when all of the adjustments that were being asked for right now get pulled together, that it would come back through planning and zoning to let us take a look at all the adjustments, comments, concerns that are in the comprehensive plan right now, that it would come back to us. We would do our final review before it would actually come forward to City Council for y'all's review, and then your final adjustments or changes that you would make at that point before it goes back to Collier or their final draft of the document.
I think it's a great idea. If we're going to stay on the 11th, I know there's a public hearing that's required by statute. So I'm not sure if, I definitely think it's appropriate. I'm just saying we got to get feedback from the public. I'm sure that's a part of your plan. Then we'll have to get that information up to that point in time sent to Collier Engineering, get it back, and then, Nida, do you think that's doable?
Okay.
So there
Can
should
I
be.
just say an editorial comment? The engineering firm has had this for 3 years. They have been working on it, and they have done a lot of work, you know, from town halls to surveys. There's a lot of incredible information in there. And I feel like, as a council, I was given like 2 weeks to review a final draft, because we've gotten it in piecemeals, but it's always changing. And for the first time, I got a draft. I think P&Z just got a draft, and we were given like 2 weeks to look at a 354-page document and give our comments to you. And again, we did it all in a silo. I gave my comment, every person individually gave their comments. We haven't had collaboration. We haven't had participation. I think it might be too early and to get the public involved if we want to make some changes, you know, and I do have some significant comments. So I am concerned about the process goes on for 3 years, and then all of a sudden, jam, the city is supposed to adopt it. So that's my hesitancy.
I would like to ask Mr. Hobbs, what has the Planning and Zoning Committee talked about with the comprehensive plan? Because I'm thinking if I go through all this and make changes, and you've already made the changes, it kind of could be redundant. So just
The document, what was it, Nadia, about 2 weeks ago? Right.
Sure,
we know.
right, yeah, we understand.
Yeah, we're more than happy to do what the council would like us to do with what we've been collected so far. I know I've read about 2/3 of it, and there's a lot of material in there, a lot of real good material, and, you know, based on how it needs to be laid out or completed, I think that's where we're all trying to get to.
I think our last master plan was less than 50 pages.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to just go ahead and say about splitting it.
Oh,
putting the information-
yeah, it seems like we almost need a forward and then the plan, the comprehensive plan itself.
That's what I was going to say, because if we want this plan to be something that the citizens can read and not have to, you know, take 6 months to read the book, and just to kind of get it divided so that the good information is great, but I want to find the spot where I can find the guts of the information.
But I think we all have our responsibilities in the plan itself. It's a matter of, you have to go through almost a full 350 pages, glean it out to get to where we would all be concentrating. As opposed, and all that other material is very informative and very, very good. But if it was put in one spot and then the comprehensive plan was in another spot that kind of gets us our roadmap to where we need to go, that seemed to be what might be the best. I don't know.
And I had to slug through it. I mean, I really had to push through it, and I'm pretty good at reading documents. But I don't know what you expect from the public. Do you really expect them?
Been discussed here, so I guess I'll just take it in piecemeal. One is you can have a summary of the plan document that's 20, 30 pages, kind of put it all in a nutshell. That's doable and has been done in other places. Two is the state requires us to do the public hearing, so it's not a matter whether we'll get anything good or bad. A lot of times you do. It's a matter of time, it's true. Three is we could slow it down. The problem I had since I've been here is trying to get people moving to get us anything. This actual document that you're seeing now should have, well, forget what should have been. It was promised to the city back in September of 2023. And we're already a year past that and plus. So it's up to council. You can always, we can slow it down some and make some adjustments accordingly, get that feedback and hope for the best. We could move forward as scheduled. And and NIDA did say, it's a, basically, as they say, a living document. Any kind of adjustments to your future land use map is going to take a rezoning. It's going to, anything that's contrary to what you're adopting is going to have, especially in your future land use map, is going to have to be amended by public hearing and zoning changes. So you're going to be in it quite a bit moving forward. But it's really up to this council what you all want. We'll adjust accordingly, but I'm just a little hesitant about how things have been working for the last 3 years. This is not a 3-year project.
Correct. And I am a little concerned in that since it has taken 3 years, a lot of the information in there is dated. And for instance, it talks about needing a new library because all of the city council meetings, all of the public hearings, everything is in the library and they have to move all the books. And I mean, we switched that during COVID. And I'm not quite sure why that wasn't updated.
That's because I've been pushing pretty hard and quite, well, we basically put an ultimatum out, either do it or don't, but we're done with this. So I would say that it's a risk you may run based on their pattern. On the other hand, don't feel like you just, once it's adopted, you're just done with it. We can go back like we talked about months ago, that we could take one chapter at a time and go and work through it and update it as we go. It's like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't.
Take the document that they have right now and let them go. Say, this is their product. It's not our product. It's their product.
It should be our.
I understand
got
that.
you.
But then we take it and we make it our own.
I think it's going to be needed, honestly, or you can go back and gamble what we've had to do. Like I said, the email chain goes all back to years. So am I. So
glad Nadia's here.
I think there's some choices to be made. As far as the summary, definitely can do. It's kind of like an executive summary, but it's done it's going to be a little bit heavier than that. 2 is, we can slow it down, we can stay on track. In my advice, regardless, it still needs to be dealt with chapter by chapter moving forward, and start with the more meatier things like your future land use map and things like that. That's going to be something you're going to see on a regular basis as well as council. But it's strictly up to you all how you all want to make it work.
How would we get a readable executive summary that wasn't god-awful long and take god-awful long time to get?
It doesn't exist right
It needs
now.
to be usable at the end of the day.
Well, but if you want people to look at it and come and ask smart questions and have smart concerns, they've got to have some information. Quite frankly, there's not a lot of people outside of a few 2% that care are going to spend a long time reading that much material.
We are putting it on our website, so it's going to be up there. Well, I know, but I just wanted you to know, it's going to be on our
I'm
website.
not laughing at that, just trying to read 350 pages on a computer.
No, I agree.
It's like, oh my God,
It's a novel for sure.
just shoot me.
But it's there, the public hearings will be there, but I don't think it's going to replace the due diligence that's required, honestly, to get, this economic development's a good example. It's totally different here than a lot of cities are asking. So, and I understand why. I didn't understand it when I first got here, but I definitely understand it now. But to the outside world, that doesn't make sense to some people, but if you think what you have here, it does make sense. So I think there's different ways you can look at it. The summary is not something it's part of the scope of work. I don't think it's any more. Yes, go ahead.
Can we accept it but not adopt it?
You can't.
It's a council question.
Well, I think legal would have to, Neil would have to weigh in. I think you have to adopt it to enforce it. So if you're going to abide by state law, it requires you, if you're going to start holding people to that document, you have to adopt it.
And I'm not saying that we wait another 6 months. I'm saying maybe we give ourselves 3 months. I'm not saying this should go on for another, 2 or 3 years, but I do think we need a little time other than a few weeks.
I really think we need to get the summary, in a 20, 30 page, whatever it is for the, everybody to read. But I'm kind of, that will take more than 3 months, I would think.
Just that you should adopt something that you're not happy with. You paid for something. It's been 3 years. 2022, I think February is when this thing started. And that is just crazy talk. Promises, promises. I've got already warned staff, just don't do that anymore. Let's, but
Well, I
right
think
now
they
she's. holding-
bypassed our steering committee also. We had a steering committee, and I don't know how many, Donna, you were on it. I don't know how many, and Ken, weren't you on it too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how many meetings they actually had with the people that were supposed to be giving them guidance, steering them. I feel like they got a lot of information, and then they just went away. And then they came back with this document, and I'm going like, where did this information come from? I know the steering committee didn't create a new vision for our city, have a vision for this city. And that's what should be in the comprehensive plan, not some third party vision for our city. So I really have some serious concerns.
Well, the options I would say is you can, I think chapter by chapter review is prudent, given the time it's taken to get it and some of the stuff's dated. And again, going back to the tailoring to this community, it's not what people outside want, it's what you all want for a community. So I don't think it's bad to stay on the timeline, get it, know it, move on, and in that manner, or we can slow our roll down and say, okay, let's give it another 30 days. There's ways to do that. I think there's always a risk that we're gonna go back and repeat the same behavior they've
I
been.
don't think it's a risk. I think it's a known.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So they've got to do their product. We need to pay them, and then they need to let us tailor. Right. Yeah, there's a whole section on economic development. And has that been run by the Economic Development Board? I haven't seen any input from them. I think they need to look at that section.
Yeah, I guess the risk is, do you want to take the risk and hope that we can slow it and move in that direction? Do you want to take it and do by chapter, adopt it, stay on track the way it is now? The reason I wanted to get it through is because there's no good outcome the way it's set up. So take the lesser of the two evils, get it adopted, and you got something to work with, and then we can just start chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
It's
At
up
this
to you.
point, based on what I've seen, I cannot adopt that with my name on it.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
then there's no reason to do that public hearing, there's no reason to do it.
But there's 5 people.
Well, okay, I'm just saying, but just from a governing body consensus standpoint, we need to make sure we're not,
I mean, I agree with you. Colliers is in the rearview mirror. And it's up
Should
to
be.
us now if we want a document that we want to move forward with for the next 10 to 20 years. This isn't just a document that we're going to put on a shelf.
Right.
I mean, this is the comprehensive plan that will help guide us for the next for several decades. So I'm taking it really seriously. And
So if we don't, if we wait and Colliers doesn't finish it up for us in the end, then what will we do?
we can't let them. They're done.
Right, so,
We have
but
to
I
do
guess,
it. If we have to hire another
maybe
third party.
maybe I'm not understanding, but I thought we needed to get approval and adopt it in order to get Colliers out of here, and then we could start doing our amendments.
Well, the state, if you're going to use the comprehensive plan using is from 1994, could be off.
40 years old.
Yeah, so to answer your question, if we didn't adopt it, you're still using the one that was adopted. So, you know,
But I don't want, I think at a minimum, council needs to sign off on the goals. If you can't get through the rest of the document. And the vision need, well, our vision needs to be in there.
well, there is one other way, I guess. Let's think of another way. Okay. Let's think of this.
Proceed.
What if we were to go ahead and utilize the 1994 version we have now? Go ahead and accept the information, get the public hearing through. Doesn't mean that we won't have another one. Get the input and slow it down to where we don't need Collier Engineering to adopt it. We're coming down to the end of the contract. So once they delivered it, they met the scope of work, our obligation, our transaction is closed and they're gone. And then we can bring that back on a regular basis with this council. I think with you all, we'll stay on task and deal one chapter at a time and look at it, and we can update it moving forward. And just when it's done, I don't think it will take us long, but I think you're not talking about a week or two, or a couple of months, you're talking several months, but you'll get the product you want up front,
And then to answer Ken's question,
which is,
does the council want P and Z to take back control of the comprehensive plan and have them review it, edit it, and then present it to council for adoption?
everything we talked about can be done through P and Z. They are an extension of you, and that's what they're there for. That's fine. And remember, the state statute requires that participation. There's not an option. The only thing is the public hearing, since, well, we haven't scheduled it yet either. So actually, what you could do is direct us, staff to go ahead and bring it back towards him. We'll go ahead and finish out working with NIDA, get some of the closeouts done, that's deliverables. In other words, what's already put in for suggestions, and get that back and submit that to Ken, and P&Z can take it from there. You got something to work with, for sure.
Dennis, can I,
Yes, sir.
let me try to break this down for my mind. So I think, I don't want to speak for everybody, but the general consensus is we have a subpar document.
Yes.
If, from what I'm gathering, they are working on the changes that we have. Right. But what we can do, if I'm hearing all this correctly, is when we get the updated document, we'll call it V2 from Colliers, we are then in a position where we can say, thank you very much. We appreciate everything you've done for us.
We'll close it out.
Close it out. And then we have received a document. We have not adopted a document.
And it's
So
not
then-
official until you do.
Exactly. So then we can still continue to modify that and use, like you said, the previous document that is in place. Okay, because I agree. If it's a basket case document, I don't think it's going to do anybody any good. So I personally would like to receive it in whatever state we get during the next one and just say, hey, we're done with you, appreciate it. And then start to work on it in-house, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, with all the agencies involved.
They can bring the stakeholders together at those meetings. They can end up having recommendations to council per chapter. I'd recommend that. That's your choice how you do it. And then slowly work your way through it. When it's done, everybody's comfortable, they can go ahead and now still have to do the public hearings. And I would just, even though it's not required, I would say one of them is, but probably have one about 30 days out for the public to have, and then have another one just before you adopt it the night of adoption. But
I
that's
think
what I recommend.
in my mindset, for the audience, just so you know what I'm thinking, my mindset is that takes the document as it is, because for 3 years, it's been way too long. I got it. I think everybody understands it by now. But let's take what we got and start working on the process. Yeah, I think it's a mix of everything. We're going to pump the brakes a little bit. We're going to use what they give us, and we're going to make it fit us.
Yeah.
Am I reading that right? You shut up.
Well, there's no amendment needed because it's not adopted yet. So if you'll just, if we receive it, we'll close out our contract. P and Z will work, NIDA will provide all that stuff to you. You all work through it, and you all can bring chapter to chapter. And once it's finished and you're all satisfied that there's nothing else, P and Z make a recommendation. Just hit those public hearings and do the adoption and live by it from that point on.
So are
You're
we
right.
dismantling the steering committee on this and
It's
turning
really
it
your
back?
all's,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's up to P and Z.
yeah.
I think it sounds like it has been dismantled. It's back in P and Z's.
They've been told.
Really?
Yeah, no.
No, we didn't.
I wouldn't be against reaching out to the members of the committee and asking them if they still want to continue to participate in some sort of,
Come to the P and Z meeting.
yeah,
a good
yeah,
spot.
to get their input as well. So, I mean, this thing is, yeah.
That way we separate, we'll close out the scope of work. They actually, they offer to come down and fly down to be present. I don't think it's necessary. I think if we can get. I think it's we are looking for a consensus, so is that the consensus? Take it?
Yeah, I like
Work it.
Jimbo. I totally agree with Jimbo's idea.
Yeah, I like that direction.
Okay, Mayor?
Me too.
I'm not on a ship right now.
Yes, sir. We got, we have, Emil's going to talk about DS 2507.
I know it's a huge project. Mhm. Right. And I know this is your first time to do it, so, yes. Okay. Good.
That's great.
The deadline for turning in everything in is the 14th? 14th? Okay.
That's right. Yeah, 4:59, right.
Is that it? Okay. Mary, you want to go in? Yes, sir. Okay. DS 25-010 is discuss a resolution ratifying a change order providing for a revised contract and amount with JM Pipeline LLC for installation of ground storage tank and pump station. As you know, this project's been going on for some time, and we had an issue with the clay valve. They think they found a solution. We briefed y'all on that last time we had last regular session. So they did figure out a way, they think, to fix the problem. It's just not shutting fast enough, from my understanding. And the fix ate into our, I'm going to call it a credit, for lack of better words, that was given to us. But even with that said, the contract, the $3,678,319, and it's going to come in at $3,665,347.30. So it's about $12,000, well, almost $13,000. Like their fix that they're recommending will indeed work. This is the last stage of it, and the project will be finished, assuming everything works.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, give it the credit to Nida. She's the one that came up with it. So.
Turning of the valve.
So technical question, the $70,000 of change orders that this council approved on that, was that not to the,
There's actually 8 change orders, and
we approved 70,000 and.
well, I don't have the amount in front of me. But I do have the. Actually, I just had this one. This is number 8. And this one's going to cover the credit back of the 20,000 because we did some of the work for their electrical stuff that we shouldn't have been involved in. Contract called for them to do it, not us. They gave us that back, but that had to be used for this clay valve resolution. We signed off accepting that 16-inch valve, so we're partly ownership in that one.
So
And
but
then
we
the
were
SCADA,
already 70,000 over based on our change orders, which we already approved.
well, the original contract, from what I understand, is 3.6 million,
Right.
678, and this is 665. Now, I don't know, change orders, did it actually raise the original price, Carrie?
I have it.
Well,
I sent it to Dennis. Yeah, there's 2. There's a 19,000 that Jesse submitted to.
well, the 19,000 we tracked, I'm not sure about the 70,000. Are you taking several of them together?
No, there were
Oh,
2. There was a
50,000.
50,000
Yeah.
and then 19.
I didn't see a
And it's
50,000.
fine. I mean, we've already approved it.
Yeah.
But the total contract should include that amount, I guess.
It is. What you're seeing, this is every time you adjust that, it's going to change that, resolve it, and we get this thing closed out, and I'll give you some updates here later on the other projects we're working on. And then the next item is, there it is. I think it's the discuss a memorandum resolution accepting the resignation of the city attorney, assistant city attorney, and municipal prosecutor Maria Garcia. And she's submitted a resignation, and so that creates a vacancy. So 1 is accept the resignation, and 2 is declare a vacancy. That's what that's for. And the next 2, or the next one, is resignation of Judy Dillon and Edward Cozart from the Parks and Recs Committee, declaring also the vacancies for the positions. And I believe the last one deals with a couple of vacancies in P&Z. I know we have Ken as the chair, so that's already been addressed. But this still allows for the vacancies to be declared and the positions to be filled
On Parks and Recs.
for
Yeah.
Parks and Recs, right? No, I'm sorry, planning. The last one was planning and zoning. It is, yeah. So that will be coming up as well.
Okay.
That's it.